for tennis here at the Lipton Championships on Key Biscayne. Rafter leading 1-0. This is Agassi to serve.
This is a much better start for Patrick Rafter than he had last night against Jim Grab. He was broken right off the bat against Grab, lost the first set 6-1.
Funny how you have a match that is close sometimes when you do well in a tournament. For Agassi, it was against Mark Petrie. It was 4 games all in the third set and as tight as a drum. But it ended up in favor of Andre Agassi when he was able to break. Then he went on to beat Becker in straight sets, Piolin in straight sets, and Edberg tiebreak, and then 6-2 in the second. Needs to be said quickly that Andre Agassi in that first set with Edberg was down in the tiebreak 4 set points, and there would have been a big difference in that match, everyone believes, myself included, had he not won that tiebreak.
He won 7 out of 8 points, finished up winning that tiebreak and 9 points to 7, and then just got so confident that he likes the target to hit at, and he went from strength to strength.
30-15. Brad Gilbert has been working with Andre Agassi. Now, he's not his official coach by any means, but Agassi said to me, listen, I'm working with this guy, and I found it very interesting. That's Philip Agassi, his brother, on the left, and Brad Gilbert. That's a familiar face to you if you're a tennis fan. Boy.
This is a part of the game that maybe Patrick Rafter wants to work on the most next, his return game. He gives away too many easy ones, huh,
That's what I was saying, Mary. You know, that's what Sampras was like about 4 years ago when we covered him. I think it's just a matter of time when there's no reason for him to go for 2 huge forehands there and try and hit the name off the ball. You don't get any extra points for hitting the name off the tennis ball. But Bob Carmichael, Nailbags, as he's affectionately known in Australia, is telling me, try and stay in this match. You can block the returns back because Agassi is not going to serve and volley very much.
I guess he just maybe wants to hit through his nerves then on those returns, you know. Give it a bit of a rip.
This is going live down to Australia, so I'd like to say hello to all you folks that enjoy our Wimbledon coverage from down there, and I hope you enjoy the Lipton here. And Patrick Rafter has done Australia proud the last few weeks.
That's why Mary said give it a rip, Fred.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she knows a few of our slang expressions. She's been down there.
Love 15.
Patrick Rafter had a pretty interesting road to this men's semi-final. As you can see, he went 3 sets in his first 2 rounds. Then he beat Marc Rosset and Michael Chang. And of course, Michael Chang to drop that second set tiebreaker, knowing what a fighter Chang is a big deal. Then he heard from a bunch of guys, hey, look, if you could beat Grab, you could beat Agassi, because he's a good giant killer. Sometimes he doesn't get through the matches he should win, but he was able to calm his nerves enough to take that 3-set match. And now here he is.
I said he was a fighter. He showed his fighting qualities when he played against Goldner in that second round, because Goldner served for the match. Goldner led 5-3 in the 3rd set. And Carmichael was very proud of his lad when he came back and won that set 7-5 to take the match. So he called that one good. It was a let serve, the first one. So he went right back to the same spot. That's his second ace.
I know that he's the best Pat since Cash, but Cash didn't have this big a serve, did he? I just seem to remember
No,
Pat Cash
no,
having a great volley
He
game.
had a, well, Pat Cash was very quick. I think Cash had a very good first serve, a first delivery. I don't think he hit it with quite the power that Rafter hits his, but I think that Rafter's second serve eventually will be a better second serve than Pat Cash. They're both working with the same. Actually, Pat Cash worked with Anne Quinn, who put him on a training routine, and she has done the same for Pat Rafter. Pat Rafter has a lot of respect for Anne Quinn and what she's done for his game.
Game point, Rafter.
He looks like a very fit guy, doesn't he? Big physical player, but I guess if you're one of 9 kids, you have to be a pretty good athlete just to get some food.
Yeah, you got to fight at the table, haven't you? There's not much conversation at the table with 9 kids. This is where I think, and you just mentioned that forehand, he's got to be a little more patient. He's playing against a Wimbledon champion, a past Wimbledon champion. Can't get too eager. I think that's what his problem with Grab was last night. Tried to do too much too soon.
Already 6 unforced errors from the Aussie.
(6'1". He looks even a little taller than that. He's got a good reach, Rafter. Used it very well against Chang. Game point. Agassi hits the return so early, doesn't he? He can also get an angle. So the thing, he's hitting it flat, gets down, and he also has the angle. That's what makes it so difficult to serve and volley against him.
I was just thinking the same thing, Cliff. He returns so well. It's that second serve, and he doesn't try to do a lot with it. He uses the pace off the first serve. The second serve against somewhere like Rafter, he can get it low and he can get the angle and set up his passing shot.
So he will get 2. The fault called and then immediately corrected. So Rafter will get 2. That was a 114-mile-an-hour serve, and I don't think you're going to see a lot of first serves under 110 miles from Rafter. He's got to use his big weapon against Agassi, because if you try to throw in, you know, 3/4 pace first serve, he's going to jump on that just like it's a second serve. Deuce. It was 112. Problem if he misses it, though. That was a 95-miler, and Agassi eats those for lunch.
That's the second time he's been burnt. Just the last 2 points. He led 40-15 in this game. He missed that first delivery, and Agassi just has this one. Look how low that is. Good, solid shot. He has not won a point yet on his second serve, Rafter.
Break point. Got it.
That is a terrific point by both players, won by Agassi. And he has broken the serve of Patrick Rafter. Extraordinary stuff, 2-1, and Agassi will serve after this break.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Lipton Championships. What a way in which Agassi was able to break Rafter. Just tremendous running from Agassi. Rafter didn't do enough with a bunch of the shots he had. And Agassi putting so much pressure on him to do more and more with the ball, because if he's going to be able to chase down those kind of balls all night long, that's even more pressure he's putting on his opponent. Very, very speedy work. He never counted himself out of this point. And now Pat Rafter has to be thinking to himself, boy, this guy, I'm going to have to make my volleys even better, get even more serves in. That's the greatness of a quick... I mean, it's what Michael Chang does all the time to his opponents. He forces you to hit even better.
2-1, Agassi.
Chip and charge. And again, Stefan Edberg wasn't good enough against Agassi in the last round. He went down in straight sets. trying to do this.
Well,
Of course, Rafter's got to do it as well.
Yeah, he can't play from the baseline. The one thing with Pat Rafter's volley that I don't particularly like on the backhand side, he opens the face of the racket when somebody hits the ball at him really hard, very solid, as Agassi has done a couple of occasions, even like that one there. The face of the racket is open too much. Watch the return here. This kicks out, but watch the open face of the racket. See how it goes back, and he's got to come up with a high backswing. You see how open that is when he plays that shot? And that's what it looked like on the volley. Have a look at the grip. It's nearly around to a forehand, an Eastern forehand grip that he seems to be hitting his backhand with again. So I think you're going to find Agassi attack that. It's okay when he comes over it, when he can hit it with topspin, but the slice backhand doesn't do much for me.
Not your cup of tea here at the Lipton. 117 mile an hour serve from Andre Agassi. That's pretty big for him.
Broke a string, sent that one long. Agassi now 3-1. Rafter will go and change his racket.
Agassi's trying to make this 11 out of 12 matches this year. He won at Scottsdale and had a tough time at the Newsweek Champions Cup, but he has come back here with a vengeance and has had a bunch of good wins, as we've said. So for him, he is very pleased about the way that he's playing.
When I saw the result, the loss against Fabrice Santoro at Indian Wells, it made me think, well, maybe Andre's, wonder how his wrist is, wonder how his confidence is. But boy, he's dispelled any notions I had of his confidence level here this week.
We called that match, and he was just a little rusty in that match. Half a dozen points could have made the difference in that match, and Agassi missed the big points by just a matter of inches.
He still says that he's got to, he's got to kick some of the rust loose from his game, play the big points better. And so far this week he has.
Told me just a couple of days ago that in that match that was played out at Indian Wells, that he had twitched his back a little bit on one of the big serves that he tried, and that hurt him some in that match. Love Rafter.
The thing with Rafter is that he wants to be a great tennis player. When he traveled overseas the first time, he traveled with Mal Anderson. I first met him at Wimbledon a few years ago. You'd never think that opportunity would eventuate. It has done.
Well, then he does sound like Pete Sampras fire.
Yep.
He's talking that. In fact, he said when he beat Jim Kerr at Indian Wells, one of the great thrills was looking up every now and then and seeing all the great Aussies up there, Muscles and Rocket, who were there every year at that event. He said that's kind of he said he couldn't help but look up every now and then and see those Aussie greats.
Muscles
watching
is
him.
Ken Rosewall. Rocket is Rod Laver. Rosewall's here, playing in the Legends and making speeches at corporate appearances and hospitality tents here during the Lipton. Little sawdust for Patrick Rafter. His dad changed his serve. They modeled it after Goran Ivanisevic. I don't know what it was like before he changed it, but it's a very solid serve that he's got here. 65%. Hasn't done very well when he's got the first serve in, as you could tell. And he holds on there, but he's still a break behind, so it's 3-2 with Agassi to serve. Semi-final of the Lipton. Agassi's got a break. He leads 3-2 in this first set of this best-of-3 set. Will be best-of-3 sets all the way here at the Lipton. His current ranking is number 31. He was 24 at the end of last year. Last time he was in the top 20 was in September last year. Last time he was in the top 10, May of last year. And he was in the top 5 in June of 1991. relatively young career for Patrick Rafter, but he's 46 now, and as you've said, Fred, that's going to go up. Look where he was in 1990 and how he's risen since then.
There's that backhand again with the open face, trying to block it back, and with that open face, it flies.
Solid. It's almost like he's inviting Rafter to come in, isn't it? He is certainly not intimidated by the net rushes, as we've been pointing out. Game points here for Agassi.
This time, Rafter goes back there, locked Andre Agassi. He hits the one shot, and he was ready to go for that cross-court backhand. He was able to stop, and look where he is. It's at three-quarter court. That's at the net. Look at that volley again, coming down a little bit too far, in my opinion, and then that sets up not enough stick on the volley, and Agassi has enough time to change direction and make the pass.
Only his first.
I guess you've got to come in on a wing and a prayer, because that's about the only prayer you have against Agassi. But if you hit an approach shot that is not well hit, then you're in trouble. 4-2 first set. Jerry Boyks is fine. He's one of the biggest tennis fans in the business. His golf swing leaves a lot to be desired, to tell you the truth. One of the great guys in tennis. He has supported this event since the beginning, 10 years ago.
He was part of the Lipton, and now he is in partnership with Butch Buchholz with this event.
2-4.
He's quick.
He's really showing that off tonight. And he's seeing the ball so cleanly on returns. He's picking it off on the strings of Rafter everywhere. He's gobbling up the court, gobbling up the ball, and really dictating against a man who's trying to do that to him.
Love 15. Beautiful night. It's still a little humid, actually, but not too bad.
Again, he's getting killed on. He's getting killed on that Rafter. Agassi's showing again just how fit he is, how quick he is, and Patrick Rafter keeps getting burned when he's got to put in that second delivery.
This time he has to close in the net. The reason Agassi plays that so well is he goes cross-court with it. You can see the enjoyment on his face. He likes making that one on the run. Goes cross-court, which gives him a little more court to work with.
Love 30.
Rafter's just pressing too hard on his serve. He's just trying to go for too much. He feels he's got to go and hit it at 110 mile an hour every serve. He's still only on the second serve. He's only won 1 point.
I think he's got to give away those attempted drop shots, Fred, because Agassi is not intimidated by that at all. As quick as he is now, love 40 Agassi. He enjoyed hitting that topspin lob. It's one of the prettiest shots to watch played. It is also tremendously satisfying when you hit one as cleanly as he did there. Break points.
Another one.
He got it. Second break, 5 games to 2. Agassi in the first set, very much in control.
Hey, tennis fans, get to know the top players in the world with the official 1994 IBM ATP Tour Player Guide. 250 of the world's best players, statistics, rankings, everything you ever wanted to know about your favorite stars for just $20. Or include the 1994 IBM ATP Tour Guide and International Tennis, the official monthly magazine of the ATP Tour to complete the set. You can serve up all 3 for just $40. It's the perfect match. Order yours today.
Welcome back to the Lipton. Andre Agassi just doing what comes naturally, and he has hit 7 winners here, 1 unforced error. This is another toss. Look at that. He holds it. The racket head is down below the ball. You cannot tell what type of shot he's going to hit. Then he lifts it up and rolls it quickly, snaps the wrist, and that's what it feels like at the net when you look at this. Look at Pat Rafter moving forward. Okay, he says, hey, here it goes again. That's 2 in the 1 game that's beaten me.
5-2, Agassi serving for the set.
That's good tennis from Agassi when you've hit 7 winners and 1 unforced error, you know.
And when you mix it up as Agassi does, Fire, because he hits so hard, so you have to guard that against the net, but he's so quick that he gives himself the option of playing a great lob as well. He keeps you guessing.
Only 3 points Agassi's lost in his serve.
He's been serving very well, Andre Agassi, and he's been returning so well. In 4 matches, he'd broken serve 16 times coming into this match, and that's against hard-serving Becker, hard-serving Pioline, Stefan Edberg. I mean, he's just really showing off, is what I'm saying. Very gaudy numbers he's putting up here tonight.
That one missed by a long way, and the first set last night, Jim Grab played an excellent first set. Pat Rafter was all at sea, and he's starting to look a little that way now. He's tried most everything, but he just hasn't been able to do much. Shot.
Little expression there from Agassi. He's having some fun. Watch what happens to him after he misses this. That's what he does. Misses that, and then
There's a good stretch from Rafter. He just tries to snap it down the line, and he got it very low. You see him starting to move for the next shot.
set for Agassi. 6 games to 2. Now Agassi's walking to the sideline to change a racket or to attend to something else. Let's take a look. Yeah, it looks like he wants a new racket. I don't know why he'd want to change anything that...
There's probably quite a few winners left in that other racket of his. But you can really sense maybe the frustration, the desperation of Pat Rafter, and the total and utter confidence and control that this man Agassi has here tonight. I mean, he doesn't seem pressured at all. He's making this look like he can do anything he wants against any opponent, which is what he has done this week.
Agassi's enjoying that new racket. Apparently, he was a Donné player for a long time. I think that Head have come out with a racket that's very, very similar to the one he used to play. It is not a wide body. Neither is Rafter's. First point, second set.
Very few of the players on the tour use the wide body racket. It's just too much stick, and I think it's a lot of racket for some of the club players as well, but very few of the players use wide body rackets on tour.
Put this thing in perspective, we've said that Pat Rafter has had some good wins. At Indianapolis last year, that was really a breakthrough tournament for him. He beat Chesnikov, he beat Wayne Ferreira, no slouch, Wayne Ferreira, and Pete Sampras before Becker beat him, but it was a 3-setter. 15 love. Then he's beaten Courier already this year. And Chang here.
Hats off to Andre Agassi. And these Raptors. He's not in at the net on his own terms, and that is such a frustrating experience.
Yeah, every time you are forced to play that low volley, you've got to get the ball up again and over the net. Look at this, there it is, very close. And then Agassi has his choice of shot. Rafter guesses for the cross court. .46% at net for Rafter, and obviously if that's your forte, that's your strength. And that doesn't let you get away with very much.
Pat Rafter last night against Jim Grab got frustrated at one point and threw his racket, and it went right over. See where Agassi is? It went right over that fencing, and it took a couple of minutes for the
back, yeah, to get it back, didn't it?
Rafter would be a top 20 player on the IBM ATP Tour if he were to win this match. He's going to be 21 even if he doesn't.
He had dreamed of being a top 10 player, but I think even he's surprised at his rapid ascent.
Yeah, his goal this year was to try and get into the top 40. And he's done that.
He's just a dinkamozzie, isn't he?
Yep, he
Everyone's crazy about this kid. You know, he's got that good attitude. He had lost 3 first rounds in a row going into Indian Wells.
Yeah, he was,
had a couple of cold ones the night before his match with Curry.
That's what he said. He needed to loosen up a little bit.
Yep.
And go out and have a couple of beers with the boys, and then just go out and play his game. And he did that in Indian Wells, and things started to turn around for him.
Yeah.
Playing Davis Cup for Australia next week. He leaves here and goes to St. Petersburg, Russia. A lot of the other team members have left because that match is played, starts next Friday. So a long trip for him.
30 all. Agassi would also move into the top 20 if he wins this match tonight.
And speaking of Davis Cup, Jim Courier, who continues his slumping ways after losing to the top seed, Pete Sampras. What better way to break out of a funk than to fly to India tomorrow morning? That's a poor guy.
Play on grass.
Play on his very worst surface in what has to be about a 20-hour trip.
Oh. Agassi just read that serve and was all over it. Watch Agassi's movement here. Set, and he moves to the forehand and turns the shoulders and lets it go. Gets it right on the top of the rise, round about waist high. Ace number 3 for Rafter.
An unseeded semi-finalist last year. Remember Marcus Andruska? South Africa played so well. Agassi doesn't like that one. One of the few missed hits that you've seen from him. And he trails 1-0 in the second set, but he won the first set easily behind 2 breaks of serve, 6-2. We're going to take a break from the Lipton Championships and be back to Key Biscayne after these words.
Second semi-final of the day. Pete Sampras is through to the final. This is what happened in the opening set. Pat Rafter lost at 6-2. Agassi lost only 4 points on his serve. Look at those unforced errors. Rafter 10, Agassi 1. That tells the story right there. Agassi in full control, Rafter pressing a little, trying a little bit too hard at the moment.
Missed it. Andre Agassi, if he wins this tournament, will be able to afford to put some juice in his jet. $242,000 to the winner. To win tonight, gets him $128,000. He's already got $67,000.
Pretty big payday for Pat Rafter, no matter what happens here tonight. In fact, he's moving to Bermuda.
Should not have let that one drop, and he did.
He's moving to Bermuda, as I said, Cliff. Part of the reason so he can be closer to the States, closer to Europe, and part is to save some tax.
Yeah,
it's a tax scam.
Sure.
That's why Michael Chang lives in Henderson, Nevada. It's why so many of the guys live in Monte Carlo.
Okay, lets this one go. He thought it was wide. He thought he had a good line on it because he came in along that singles line.
Florida has no state tax either.
That's why Fiery lives here.
I live here because I've got a job at Turnberry Isle. That's the reason I'm a Florida boy.
Don't let Carilla get away with it. She lives in Florida as well, alongside Jim Courier and a lot of the other
And she's got a lot more money than I got, too.
Yeah.
30-all. It was 40-15. It wasn't 30-all. I apologize for that. It's now 40-30. Game point, Agassi.
So that's a shot that really doesn't do much good. You know, you can swing as hard as you like on that. I don't think you need to do that much work with that because there's not a lot of work on the serve. If he gets it back at three-quarter pace and gets in the point, look at this. Then he just lets it go and throws as hard as he can. Just got no control over that shot at all, and he's disgusted with himself, but he's done it half a dozen times.
Yeah, and especially again, it's not like Agassi's coming in behind that serve. He doesn't have to go for a winning return like that.
He's just pressing a lot now. The first serve percentages have gone down. They were at 65% at one stage. They're down to 53 now.
Agassi, by contrast, I don't think he could be playing much smarter tennis than he has shown here this week. And you know, he was quite dismissive of his old coach, Mick Bollettieri, he said, you know, was a motivator, but not much else. And then he tried Pancho Segura, who was an unbelievable thinker, but generationally they were so far apart. I just don't think he could understand Segu. Now that he's working a little bit, you know, informally with Brad Gilbert, you know, Gilbert he can understand perfectly, and he thinks
another long.
Again, I mean, comprehensively he's beating the young Aussie. And everything, he's serving well, he's returning well, he's attacking. There's Beach, Brad Gilbert. Again, this is not a shot that Brad Gilbert has ever owned. Brad Gilbert never had a lob. It's just about the only, well, not the only, but it's just nothing he was ever able to do. But he sure knows how well Andre Agassi can do it. And off both sides.
Had a lot of errors on that backhand volley, and Agassi has been directing the traffic most of the evening to the Rafter backhand.
Tennis lesson so far for Patrick Rafter at the hands of Agassi. Pete Sampras said some very nice things about Agassi after his win today over Courier.
Of all the players these days, Pete Sampras fears Agassi the most, actually.
And that was clear.
Played a let there because there was a paper candy wrapper that was alongside, blew onto the court. So Rafter wanting to know what happened.
Pedro Bravo is in the chair.
You see Rafter saying, what happened?
$15.30 after all is said and done. $120-mile-an-hour serve, and Agassi sticks his racket out and hits it back about as hard as it came to him. That's it's extraordinary, and that is why Pete Sampras respects his game so much. In Sampras's mind, after the semi-final match earlier today, press asked him about it, and he said, I fully expect Agassi to win, and it's going to be a tough match against him in the final. He also had some good things to say about Rafter, but
He sure wasn't expecting Rafter to get past this match. And now he's really frustrated. He can get in trouble for that sort of thing. Pedro Bravo will keep an eye on him now.
break point, double fault. There's the break, first break of the second set. The racket nearly went down, but Patrick Rafter held on to it. He did not hold on to his serve, though, and he's down 2-1 and 1 set to love. And 2-1, Andre Agassi. This is the second of the 2 semi-final matches that will be played today. Pete Sampras over Jim Courier. Earlier today, Agassi won the first set behind 2 breaks of serve, 6-2. He's got the break here, 2-1, and he's about to serve to Patrick Rafter, the 21-year-old dashing Queenslander. The statistical match up to date between these two, is not going to look real good for Rafter, Fred.
No, Cliffy's only at 54% on serve. That's way down, I mentioned, from 65. But look at the winners. 8 winners. Agassi's at 11 with the unforced errors. 15 for Pat Rafter. It's nearly twice as many unforced errors as winners. And there's only 2 unforced errors for Agassi. Make that 3 now.
3 unforced errors against 11 winners. Love 30.
Yes, great shot. He wants it full
Agassi
low.
thought it was big. He really did. It was a swing volley, a stretch swing volley, and Andre, who's got some very good eyes, was standing right behind that baseline. He thinks he got a real good look at this. Here it is, the stretch, pretty big swing, and Agassi was absolutely convinced it was out. Let's see where he's standing. He got a good look at it.
No way, he says. No way, but no joy either from Pedro Bravo. So Rafter with 3 break points.
You're right. right about it, Fred. He is a battler. He's a fighter. Here he is. He's getting kicked around pretty much, and instead of just going away, he's trying very, very hard.
He gets the first one back. Look at this second effort here. He gets this one back into play and then tries to prop and go back after the next one, but no, it's just too quick. But this is about the time last night, Mary, where it was close in the match with Grab, and Grab went for a volley and went over on his ankle very badly and had to have the trainer out there immediately.
Missed it. Game point for Agassi.
Well, we reported 3 break points there, but the scoreboard is wrong. Here they're having a few problems with it. Now they're changing it for us. It's 40-30 to Agassi. He says, okay, you got it right now.
Deuce.
I feel that Rafter there on those slice backhands, Mary, I think he could have come over a couple of those, and I think he's a little tight at the moment. Bob Carmichael will have to get him out there. I think he's got to develop a little more variety on that backhand side so that he, like Sampras was, again, I get back to that Sampras situation, like Sampras now comes over those shots now, whereas a few years ago he used to slice most of those. Gullickson was responsible for the change there.
Back to Deuce. You're right, Fred. Sampras says that what Gullickson has done for him is those groundies, he's just getting him to hit, generally speaking, more topspin than he used to hit, which makes his shots a little safer.
But I do think it was something that Pete said he knew he needed to work on, just a more disciplined return game, which he's done very well. He didn't feel he had a good return game, especially on grounds. And he wanted to work very hard on that for last year's Wimbledon. Of course, he won the title.
Beat Agassi in the final, and he's in the final here.
He's also undefeated against Americans all year, Pete Sampras. 3rd double for Agassi. Well, sometimes you don't like to play your countrymen, but Pete Sampras, anyway, these days, he likes to play anybody.
Said he beat Agassi in the... Did I say he beat Agassi in the final?
We knew you meant Jim Courier.
We meant Courier.
We knew that.
Yeah. Beat Agassi in the quarterfinal.
Yeah. Got him cold.
Well, can we go back to that return of serve just on that one again?
Not even a racket swing Rafter could make on that volley because the backhand of Agassi was so well struck.
That's what I'm talking about on that backhand. Look at that backhand. See how that backhand goes on that return of serve? It opens the face. And now the slice, that one goes in, not much on it. And Agassi just has all the time in the world to pick and choose which way he wants to go. Being a little critical on Rafter, but that's one of those things that he has to work on. As Bob Carmichael said, hey, This kid's about 2 years away from being a great one, and I believe that. I think that he's got a terrific future. And this is good experience for him against somebody that is playing as well as Agassi is tonight.
Rafter has a break point right here.
He's had a couple. This is second.
There's the forehand return, the open stance that a lot of the players use.
Point. They were both very patient, actually, as Rafter goes down.
Rafter says, what do I have to do here? He's suck and win right there, because he was very determined during that point not to go to Agassi's forehand. He played that point just over to the backhand side as Bob Carmichael looks on. And he's looking and just saying, gee, I hope he's not injured there. But Patrick Rafter all over the place until that overhead. And he says, hey, boy, what can I do? I'm just getting run ragged here. So sit down and have a siesta.
I have a feeling he knows.
Have a snooze.
I have a feeling Nailbags knew that this guy was going to stand up again.
Exactly.
Agassi's almost letting Rafter self-destruct here in a way. Finally turned it on the point before that to win it, but I've always felt like he needed to be a little less impatient, and he's showing signs of learning that lesson.
Well, you know what? Once you get as fit as Andre Agassi is now, Cliff, you look smarter on the court. Because you'll play long points, you'll wait for your shots better. And I think that's another part of the thing that has worked so well for Andre this year. His comeback, he seems very focused and very fit as well.
Tomorrow here on ESPN2 at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and then again at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, International Motor Sports Association, 12 hours of Sebring updates. So join us for that, please.
Yeah, great return. Agassi was 8 feet inside that baseline when he teed off on that two-hander. Felt it was coming to the backhand. Watch this. He jumps well in. Another couple of steps in, and he's moving forward as he strikes that up round about chest high between the waist and his chest, and he just hammered that.
It's interesting to me, Fred, and we saw it this afternoon when Jim Courier hit a couple of two-handers. A one-hander has got to get the right foot around if he's a right-handed player. Two-handed player can hit the two-handed backhand from an open stance. One-hander absolutely cannot.
Well, you had a great two-hander. That's basically because of the rotation of the shoulders that you can get with the two hands.
I mean, like that one, for example.
You had those snaky hips, too, didn't you, Cliff?
Yeah, Cliff's always had snaky hips.
Tell you, it was the only shot I had. I don't know what about snake, but I do know that it was the only shot I had. 15 all.
thinking there he should have paid the price, because he didn't hit the volley crisply enough. Here's another look. Watch this, Fred.
In the middle of this point he goes. That's a return. A good half volley deep into the court, but then plays the first. That's a drop volley, and it was telegraphed. Western Union got that one first, and he poked that long. Agassi with an open court.
30-15. He's enjoying that one as well, just about as much as he enjoyed that topspin lob for a clean winner.
He held that till the very last moment, because that's one of the better volleys that Rafter's hit tonight. And watch Agassi holds it right to the very last moment, lets the ball drop about 6 inches off the ground, but he stays still. The head stays still in the balance. Patrick Rafter had just about everything covered and does a Boris Becker 1.5. And then Agassi says, hey, I can't hit him any better than that.
He really can't. He's playing better. I'll tell you what, I think he's playing better than Pete Sampras is. I think Pete Sampras is not quite up to this sort of form. Of course, if he serves better, Sampras, it could be a battle of heavyweights. But right now, I don't think anyone is playing better tennis than Andre Agassi.
Now, the big difference, I think, with the Sampras, with Sampras playing an Agassi, is that first volley. Rafter's missed a lot of first volleys. Sampras is not going to miss those.
They've played 8 times, by the way. Sampras, Agassi. It's 4-4, and Agassi's won 2 of the last 3. But we're looking a little bit ahead.
Break point.
But he has to hold here, Rafter, otherwise this set and match is history. Can't go down 2 service breaks against Agassi. So he hangs in there on that occasion. Saves a break point.
1 minute to go, and this match will be an hour old. It is now an hour old. Deuce. On the deuce. You know what I like about this guy is that he kind of, like Stefan Edberg, that's his third ace, bores in no matter what.
That's his game. Serve and volley, particularly on that first serve.
Remember, Agassi can hit a bunch of good returns. He'll still keep boring in.
First to the net, first to the keg. Isn't that kind of what you people believe, Byron?
Haven't heard that one for a while, Mary. I like that. What time is it? Again, directed to the backhand side, right on the shoelace. There's not a lot you can do with that. Even if he gets it back, really, Agassi is in the driver's seat.
What do you do when you serve to Agassi to try to blunt this return? The Edberg kick apparently doesn't work, because he was able to handle that one.
I think it's as Fred says, you have to rely on your first volley. You know it's coming back, and you have to be ready for that. And he's got to hope that some of these big serves of his come at the right time.
Deuce.
I think they will as he matures as a tennis player. He gets to think a little bit more, plays more percentages.
That first serve into the body, and it worked. 101 mile an hour, so that wasn't by any means, not even close to his big one. Pat Rafter was in trouble in that game, but he came back. This guy's got some fight left in him yet, but he's down a break. 3-2 in the second. First round of the Davis Cup, it's going to be the United States and India playing at the same time as Australia and Russia. But you can see this match between the U.S. Jim Courier, Todd Martin will be playing singles for the U.S. against India next weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So please join us for that. Check your local listings for times of that match between the USA and India from New Delhi.
Have we decided how injured Todd Martin is now? How his ankle is after that hoops? I guess he rolled over on his ankle playing basketball a couple of days ago.
Our best update on that is what Fred Starley reported, ace reporter, said earlier today, and that he had talked to Todd Martin, and Martin said he's going to be okay for India. 15 love, 3-2, 6-2, Agassi. Second double.
That's a sign of experience right there, because very frustrated look on young Pat Rafter's face there. Agassi was first time he's been threatened, 15-30 down there, and Agassi ventured to the net behind a decent approach shot and knocked off the volley. He doesn't go to the net often. As a matter of fact, he's only been in on 9 occasions, on 14 occasions actually in the match, 9 in the set. On the other hand, Rafter's been in there 49 times.
And he's got a break point. Oh.
He can't do anything with that backhand slice tonight. It has been a problem on the return of serve and even on the approach. Seems shrugging the shoulders, trying to loosen things up. Nailbags is probably having a 15-minute, 5-minute conversation with himself right now.
I guess that's why he couldn't be a good Davis Cup coach, because the changeover's only...
Not long enough.
Yeah,
no.
well,
the boys having trouble with the slice backhand.
Agassi holds on and it's 4 games to 2. Fred, you need to explain that. Because not everybody has been tuned in all week. This man, Bob Carmichael, we love him dearly. He's Patrick Rafter's coach. But he has, you know, he's got a few years on him. He's one of the great guys. Although, let me say this, that even when he was 18 years old, it was exactly the same thing.
Took him a long while to explain things to you.
Yeah.
Called my house the other day and took 5 minutes before he said that he was going to call back.
Is it true that you wouldn't give him a key because you didn't trust him to give it back to you when he left your house?
Not
Fred?
true.
That's what he told me. 22 unforced errors for Rafter, and that's what's killed him.
Yeah, that's the big story, isn't it? 4-2 now.
15 love, though. Missed it. Game point for Rafter. Second set has not been all Andre Agassi by any means. He played a brilliant first set, and he's got the break here in the second, but Rafter has had his chances.
Quite a few long games in this second set, and just a one service break. Rafter can string a couple together, but he's just made too many unforced errors so far. That's the shot I want to see more of, that topspin backhand. He come over that one.
4 games to 3, Agassi. First set, 6-2. He's going to serve after the break.
Hi, my name's Ungi. Meet my good friends, the Cones. Through the Cones, I've met speed, thrill, and my best buddy, danger. Good friends are hard to find.
Second semi-final of the men's singles here. Pat Rafter down a set in 4-3, and this is one of the brighter spots of the evening for him. A good first serve, and then he gets a shot. Look at this preparation there as he comes through that one. Top spin, and that is a more aggressive shot as he goes down the line for the winner. He holds serve, but Agassi leads it 4-3 with a break.
18-9.
What's that term you use, Cliff?
Oh, here comes another one.
TMG. There you go. TMG. Too much game for you folks down under. Well, those unforced errors must be getting up in the 20s now. 23. As opposed to 9 winners.
It's almost a set's worth.
Yep.
Agassi holds on easily. 5-3, 2-3-4 points from the match. 6-2 in the first set. 5 games to 3 in the second set. And Andre Agassi adding, if he wins any one of the next couple of games, Patrick Rafter, the man that you're looking at now, to his list of wins this week. He beat Cedric Pioline. He beat Boris Becker in a match that was watched and enjoyed by plenty of people. Mark Petchey in the second round of the tournament. Agassi got a bye in the first round.
Stefan Edberg.
He also beat Edberg, right.
18-9.
Philip Agassi left, Brad Gilbert right. Talking about, maybe talking about the next match, could they be? They're not even talking about anything.
There it is again. Rafter gets back to that one and gets a rousing round of applause from the stadium crowd here. He's been beaten by that shot about 5 times tonight. He was all over that one. He's a good athlete.
Looked like a wild volley, but in truth, that ball was by him so quickly, sort of made a stab at it, which was the best he could do.
Yeah.
You're just in a lot of trouble if you try to get into the net behind anything other than a very, very good volley or approach shot. Watch this.
We've seen this before tonight. Off the ground on that volley, and Agassi can just hold it till the very last minute. Look at Rafter. Rafter's committed himself to the forehand. Agassi holds it and hits the off forehand away from the body for the winner. There's another topspin backhand, as we've talked about earlier, as opposed to the slice. It gives Agassi that extra time. The topspin one gets away from him quick and it bounces up higher. The change of the grip on that one there. He comes from low to high, gets there, gets it, rips it cross court. Agassi doesn't have time to make the shot on that occasion.
Big serve from Patrick Rafter. That was just one short of 120-mile-an-hour first serve. Now he's going to have to face Agassi serving for the match.
Hey, tennis fans, get to know the top players in the world with the official 1994 IBM ATP Tour Player Guide. 250 of the world's best players, statistics, rankings, everything you ever wanted to know about your favorite stars for just $20. Or include the 1994 IBM ATP Tour Guide and International Tennis, the official monthly magazine of the ATP Tour to complete the set. You can serve up all three for just $40. It's the perfect match. Order yours today.
Look at that. Pretty as a picture, isn't she? All dolled up. And I bet she's an Agassi fan. I don't know. Patrick Rafter, that dashing young Queenslander.
I think Mum's an Agassi fan. Great shot.
Oh, yeah. Agassi leads 5-4. In the second set, he won the first 6-2. Serving for the second and the match. Agassi.
That's just fabulous tennis, because Rafter did a great job to blanket the net on that chip and charge. Look at the volley he makes here. It's an excellent volley, but Agassi right on top of this, and he plays that big whip forehand, and Rafter thinks it's going out. The top spin and the curve on that shot brings it back into court. It's now match point.
Rafter saves one. Agassi won here in 1990.
Beat Edberg in the final.
Right. That return goes wide. Agassi has won the match 6-2 and 6-4. Again, he made it look easy, Fred.
Well, tonight was a good experience for Pat Rafter. He can hold his head up high because he's played some terrific tennis. Agassi, the ultimate showman, goes out to his adoring fans. He is something that tennis needs over here. They wait for him to leave in his limo every night. There's about 250 people waiting out there. But Pat Rafter's played well. But tonight, Cliff, it was a matter of the teacher giving the student a good lesson. At the end of the evening, it was Agassi hitting 20 winners and only 7 unforced errors. And
there goes the shirt, Fred.
It was 25 unforced errors. This is what the crowd wait for. He's getting stronger with this throw. Goes up about 30 rows into the crowd.
So it's going to be a dream matchup in this final. On Sunday, best of 3 sets again. It'll be Andre Agassi of the USA. And she says, I don't want this thing. Or let's put it in the washing machine in the dryer before I want to touch it anymore. Thanks a lot for getting it for me anyway. So Agassi will take on Pete Sampras, by far the top player in the world as of now. So that will decide the title. Lipton champion for 94, Agassi and Sampras. We'll be back with more after this.
Welcome back to Key Biscayne, everyone. Andre, even you must be a little bit surprised that in only your 3rd tournament back, you have comprehensively beaten so many quality players this week.
I'm very surprised. You know, I'm way ahead of schedule as far as I was planning, but now I got to reassess my goals and get ready, and hopefully, I really was thinking it was going to be hard for me to be at my best by the French, but really right now you could argue that I'm there now, so I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Pat Rafter is a very tough player, and he kept battling, but could you just sense that he was pressing so much tonight that you really had him, you know, in an emergency mode?
Well, I was really just making such clean contact, returning the second serve. I think he didn't win a point on the second serve for the first, like, 6 service games or something, and, you know, I was really hitting the ball so well, my passing shot so clean, he was forced to come up with some big approach shots if he wanted to get in, and then once he was trying to stay back, I knew that he was kind of out of his element, so I just tried to stay focused once I got the lead and stay on top of him.
You're not playing like the number 31 guy in the world, I'll tell you that, but now you go up against the number 1 player in the world, a guy who really has been dominating for the last half year. You've got a very good record against Pete Sampras. Why do you bug him so much?
Well, I think I return exceptionally well, and you know, I think like Jim, for example, who's a strong baseliner, but when he's out of position on his backhand, he has a hard time generating the pace to pass Pete, and I think Pete feels more of a need to pressure me because I can hit shots, you know, on the full run off the backhand side, and really from the ground is where I got to keep Pete. You know, once he starts getting steam rolling, it all boils down to his serve and him taking those early forehands and coming in. I feel like I'm quick enough and I can counter punch well enough to offset his power.
I mean, you're playing well enough to beat him, aren't you? If you can handle his serve.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm not going to show up here Sunday for no reason. I'm totally in belief that I can beat him. I mean, and he's going to have to convince me differently.
Yeah. Well, your confidence shows, Andre. Everything does. Great match,
well,
really.
Thank you.
Back upstairs, guys.
Thanks a lot, Mary. Congratulations to Andre Agassi. He made short work of Patrick Rafter, so it has been a great tournament for him. As you mentioned, Mary, he has had some terrific wins. He beat Boris Becker, he beat Cedric Pierlin, he's beaten Edberg, and of course today he beat Patrick Rafter. He is already in the winners column, as we said. He beat Stefan Edberg back in 1990 in an outstanding match there. Jim Courier in 91. He had come off a win at Indian Wells, and 91 was the year that really turned his career around. In 92, Michael Chang had a great start to the year, but the rest of it didn't turn out to be quite so good. But in 93, Pete Sampras won this tournament, and then shortly after that became the #1 player in the world. So let's face it, this is a stepping stone tournament for a lot of players. In the final, it's going to be Andre Agassi of the United States, Pete Sampras of the USA. We'll be back.